Oh, well, hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Games You Must Play Before the Switch Goes Away. As we are all aware, the internet is currently going insane with speculation about Nintendo's next hardware, which is likely about a year away, and although we are all hopeful that their next console will be backwards compatible, this is Nintendo we're talking about. So, just in case, this weekly video series will be sure to keep you caught up on must-play titles before we all move on to the next big thing. In the last episode, we covered the unsettling point-and-click adventure mystery AI The Somnium Files, the charming and heartfelt indie adventure A Space for the Unbound, and the JRPG Live Alive, which is an HD 2D Switch exclusive remake of a time-bending classic that never left Japan until this release. So whether you're a seasoned Switch owner looking to catch up on some games you may have missed, or are brand new to the console and are overwhelmed with the massive library of suddenly available titles to you, these following 3 games are absolutely worth your time and your money. Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon, released in March of 2023, is, as the name implies, the origin story of Bayonetta, who is best known as the lascivious leading lady of the trilogy of action-heavy Platinum-developed games by the same name. Those games are lauded for their over-the-top action, hyper-sexualized protagonist, massive set pieces, and raunchy comedic writing. In this origin story, however, you'll be taking control of a 10-year-old Cereza who will eventually grow up to become the titular Bayonetta as she ventures through her childhood. Along her journey, young Cereza keeps her dear stuffed cat, Cheshire, by her side. During conflict early in the game, Cereza must summon a demon to fight by her side, a skill which she has not yet fully mastered. The demon ends up binding with Cereza's stuffed animal and becomes her begrudging sidekick throughout the rest of the adventure. Throughout the game, you'll utilize both Cereza and Cheshire in a number of ways to solve environmental puzzles, explore your surroundings, and defeat waves of foes to unlock treasure and rewards. The most potentially divisive design element of the game is the literally divided control scheme. You see, players control Cereza with the left analog stick while simultaneously controlling Cheshire with the right. I'll admit that at first, this setup had me struggling with even basic terrain traversal, and there's no way I'd be able to pull off an in-game field sobriety test despite my personal 3 years of sobriety. A few hours into the experience, however, I found that the character control became as fluid as modern console FPS games, in which you use the left stick to move your character and the right stick to control your reticle. It just took a bit of perseverance and practice. Although Bayonetta Origins Cereza and the Lost Demons is a prequel to Bayonetta's 1, 2, and 3, I cannot stress enough that you do not have to be a Bayonetta fan, nor do you need to have played the mainline entries in order to enjoy this particular experience. In fact, as much as I enjoy the Bayonetta trilogy, I find Lost Demon to be far more enjoyable as a standalone experience precisely because it has, from a gameplay perspective, nothing in common with its source material. Currently sitting at an 80% on Metacritic and with some glowing reviews including a 9 out of 10 from the likes of IGN, I highly recommend giving this game a shot. This might be one for collectors to pick up whether they're interested in the game or not, because Bayonetta Origins is not likely to sell very well to the general masses. The contrasting playstyle from its already niche source material and a $60 MSRP means that this game is likely to become hard to find later on down the line. Initially just a side project from Canadian game designer Adam Robinson Yu, A Short Hike is an adorably charming indie adventure game that has been celebrated by critics and fans alike, and deservedly so. Everything about the game, from its charming cel-shaded and pixelated art style to the serene and ambient musical compositions, to just the laid-back nature of the game itself, serves as both individual selling points for many gamers, but when packaged together into a complete product, this game becomes an absolute essential. The game was released initially on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS,
Macs don't play games.
In 2019, before becoming a limited console exclusive to the Nintendo Switch in the August of the following year. Since then, it has been ported to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, but the experience is still best had on Nintendo's handheld home console hybrid, and for various reasons. You see, A Short Hike is not only the game's title, but might also be the single best way to describe the interactive adventure as well. If you were to take your Switch with you into your favorite nature trail for an afternoon on-foot excursion, you could easily complete the game in the time it took you to reach the end of your hike. Clocking in at about an hour and a half for the main story, this is the perfect pick-up and play title for anyone looking to relax and unwind with a game that will truly resonate with the player's desire for temporary tranquility. I was able to squeeze only about 4 total hours out of the game, which does include that hour and a half that it took to complete the main objective, but I was not left feeling gypped or unsatisfied in any way. Instead, I felt an emotional peace. Though brief, every second of the experience was filled with something to do, and there was no filler. You're free to do what you want when you want to do it. Every minigame, side quest, seemingly menial task, and NPC interaction had a purpose, and there was absolutely nothing in the game that didn't need to be there. A Short Hike currently sells for $8 on the Nintendo eShop and is sitting at an 88% on Metacritic. Definitely worth checking out if you're looking for a good way to spend a few hours to unwind and relax after a hard day's work. For certain fans of certain genres, 2022's .hack GU Last Recode should be considered a must-own, despite its middling 76% on Metacritic. Originally released as a trilogy of 3 separate titles for the PlayStation 2, Last Recode is a remastered collection of all 3 original games, subtitled Rebirth, Reminisce, and Redemption, plus a 4th and final epilogue chapter subtitled Reconnection that serves nicely as a way to wrap up the story as a whole and brings resolution to what was initially a cliffhanger ending. .hack GU is an offline single-player emulated MMORPG along the lines of Phantasy Star with action-centric combat comparable to Kingdom Hearts. The franchise is multimodal in nature, and to get the best experience in terms of story, it is recommended that gamers also look into the manga and anime to reach the full depth of what the world has to offer. GU goes to astonishing lengths to emulate the feeling of being an MMO by punctuating the time the player spends logged into The World, which is the fictional MMORPG where you'll complete quests and level up your character, with time spent offline, so to speak, completing tasks such as perusing your messaging boards, checking emails, and completing networking tasks to help advance the story. As this is a remaster of a PS2-era action RPG, many of the game's mechanics do feel a tad bit dated and stale, but the story is as engaging and epic as ever, and the graphical update, though not on par with the likes of Metroid Prime Remastered, is a very welcome touch. I will say that the online hub worlds do feel barren and void of things to do most of the time. Each of the first 3 episodes will take most gamers around 25 hours or so to complete, with nearly endless potential for investment of additional time thanks to the randomized nature of the dungeons and massive amounts of loot to amass. The final chapter is much shorter, and as stated earlier, exists primarily to wrap up the story that many gamers felt was incomplete when the original trilogy released over a decade and a half ago. If you're looking for a great return on investment, the nearly 85 or so hours on offer here makes this game's $50 MSRP totally worth it. And at the time of this writing, .hack GU Last Recode is on sale on the Nintendo eShop for 50% off, making this an absolute steal. If you are a collector, the game's deluxe version, .hack GU Last Code Begins Edition, is currently selling for as high as $140, so keep your eyes peeled for deals on that in the future. The game isn't going to blow most people's minds, and the primary drive for me was the nostalgia factor. I have gotten away from the anime and manga and overall otaku lifestyle here in my older years, but I was an absolute slut for anything dot hack related as a teenager. So, whether you're a collector looking for a potential conversation piece in the future, a nostalgic nerd, or just someone with a crippling agoraphobia that might keep you from playing an actual MMORPG, .hack GU Last Recode is probably worth your time if you're willing to invest in the somewhat archaic and outdated nature of its source material. Alright, there you have it, guys. Those are 3 games that are absolutely worth your time and your money if you are looking for titles you absolutely must play before the Nintendo Switch goes away. If you have any recommendations for hidden gems, the obvious choices, hot takes, or any other such input, please feel free to leave that in the comments below. I do plan on doing one video like this per week up until we get Nintendo's next hardware. And also, go check out the first episode and see whether it's too late to enter for your chance to win a physical copy of Metroid Prime Remastered. Thanks, guys, and remember, I'm a dude, he's a dude, she's a dude, and we're all dudes.